Welcome everybody. I'm here to share 4 board games to try out with your family when they're in town that are not Settlers of Catan. We've all been there, we've all had family visiting, and there's that awkward 2-hour period after dinner where you're like, what should we do together? Let's play a board game. So I have four games that have worked successfully in the past for my family that have kept them entertained, that the complexity is not too high, which is always a concern with these games. So I know I usually do card content, but I thought I'd do a little bit of board content, hence the board mat. So first game I have here is the Sheriff of Nottingham. This is a waging and bluffing based game where you're trying to sneak secret contraband past somebody who is going to be acting as the sheriff. This game is a lot of fun with little kids or, with your parents, because you can sort of pull one over and there's this waging and bluffing mechanism that I think is really fun and interactive for families. The complexity is pretty light. I'd give it like a 2 out of 5. So it's pretty easy to learn. Not a huge amount of things that you need to do or game components or pieces. And it's kind of fun because it comes with these little bags that you get to wager in. So, you put the cards that you want to wager in here, and then you try to pass it by the sheriff, and the sheriff is another player that will decide whether he believes you or not with what you're trying to smuggle past. So a fun interactive game. My first choice is Sheriff. Next choice, this is a bit of a gimmick, but Ticket to Ride, the Europe edition specifically. This is for my American audience who perhaps is can use a little help with the European geography. I just find this is something like parents love trains. It's just a thing. They love trains. And so this game is always popular. I know that, lots of people have played this. This is very popular. This is not, breaking the mold here, but Ticket to Ride is always a really safe pick. Complexity is a little bit more than Sheriff, but I think it's worth it. You get to play with this really cool board map. If you've never played Ticket to Ride, it's a fun one with your family. It makes it a little more tolerable to hang out after dinner when your parents are visiting or whatever the situation is. So would recommend Ticket to Ride. That is pick number 2. So Ticket to Ride, I really like the Europe edition. The American edition is fine as well. I just think the Europe edition is a little more fun and feels a bit more thematic with the sort of not steampunk, but sort of industrialist vibe of, building trains. So next, Taverns of Teth. This game I bought on a recommendation from the game store. It's maybe a 2.5 out of 5 as far as complexity. But this, if you ever want to open a bar, this game has you acting out your fantasy. So you run a little bar here and you're upgrading your bar with different tokens to make money, and you have fun little things like you can add more bar stools to upgrade your seating. This is basically a little competitive game that I find to be quite a bit of fun, and you have your parents acting out as bartenders, and you're all kind of competing against each other for coins. So Taverns of Teth, fun game. It's accessible. It's also the theme. Since you're running a tavern, it kind of has a bit of a cozy, warm feel. This is a game that's nice to play on like a cold evening, and everyone's kind of sitting around the table acting out their little tavern. This is a fun one. Big fan. So this is my 3rd recommendation, is Taverns of Teth, and I'll go through all of these at the end in summary. And finally, Photosynthesis. This is, I think, maybe one of the more beautiful games I own. It's really well put together. I think so. In this game, you are trying to grow your forest, and how do you grow your forest? You track the sun, and it has really nice. The art is really beautiful, as well as these little standees. So you have big trees, little trees. It is a competitive game. The complexity is maybe on the 3, so it's a little more complex. It's probably the most complex of the games here, but it's still far away from, one of the Euro really heavy games. So big fan of this game. I think it's a lot of fun. Parents like it because it's pretty, competitive, as well as the standees, I think, really do a lot to help enhance the experience there. So big fan of Photosynthesis. Really fun game. So let's go over it. If you're looking to do something with your parents and you've got them over for an evening, these are 4 games to check out. First, we have Taverns of Teth, great little competitive bar game. Next, we have Ticket to Ride. This is just a guaranteed fun evening with only light arguing between your family. Next, we have the Sheriff of Nottingham here. This is a really fun, pretty simple bluff-based game where you can sort of compete with your family or compete with your friends in a pretty safe setting. And then finally, we have the beautiful game here of Photosynthesis, which is a build your own forest sort of little economy building game. A lot of fun. So in closing, I hope this is a useful list. I'm happy to do more board game content if people want. I have a lot of board games. As you guys know from my channel, I'm a pretty big dork. So happy to talk more about board games in the future, but that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in.